Good evening. It is Monday, November the 9th, 2020 at 7 p.m. and I call to order the Speedway Town Council meeting for the first meeting for the month of November. I'm President of the Council, David Lindsay. I'd like to welcome those watching and those with us in the audience this evening. Joining me this evening to my immediate right is Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
To my left is Vice President of the Council, Vince Novlik. To his left, Councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
And to his left, Councilor Gary Pettigo.
Good evening.
Also social distancing and joining us this evening in the audience is our Clerk Treasurer, Jacob Blaisdell, and our Town Manager, Carlos May. Our agenda has been posted, which we will follow this evening. Item 1 on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would just please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 in our agenda is approval of the minutes of our meeting from October 26th. Those minutes have been distributed. Any corrections? Hearing none, those will be accepted as presented. Item 3 on our agenda is approval of the Town Hall, this being the new Town Hall IT contract. And our Town Manager, Carlos May, is going to present this evening.
Thank you, Council President. So this is Phase 2 of the IT for the new building. Phase 1 was an assessment. Where does the town stand today? Where do we need to be? And more importantly, what information, what hardware, and what software would we need to move into the new building and bring all of the other external buildings online as well with the central hub? And so I have presented to the council 3 different companies that would be doing Phase 2, what I'm calling Phase 2, which is the actual purchasing of the hardware and then the labor to put it into the new building, as well as connecting all of the other buildings, external buildings from the new town hall. So I presented to the council 3 different companies. The first was Sandy Solutions, the second was BD Managed Services, and the third is DCC Inc. Council has all of the numbers from those 3 companies in front of you. This is critical to operating the town efficiently and securely, especially because everything nowadays is done online, and with the very clear needs of COVID nowadays, we need to have an IT system that is modern and can carry us forward for the next 20 to 30 years. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for Sandy Solutions for labor costs not to exceed $21,720. Along with that, the hardware cost, projected hardware cost, not to exceed $124,387.
I'll second.
Been a motion and a second, excuse me, to approve the contract with Sandy Solutions for the new town hall. Any questions from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the contract with Sandy Solutions signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Item 4 on our agenda is approval of contract with Catalyst Public Affairs. And Carlos, you could inform us of this as well, please.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. So this is a professional services agreement between Catalyst, which is the name of the company, and the town of Speedway. This is specifically for Catalyst to provide services to the town of Speedway to serve as the primary legislative advocate for Speedway and its members before the legislative and executive branches of state government. This will enable us to have a little bit more local control over what happens within the town of Speedway. Some of the items that they would be working on our behalf would be seeking legislation to grant us a little bit greater autonomy, meet regularly with members of the General Assembly to discuss issues of importance to the town of Speedway, arrange meetings between the town of Speedway and legislators to facilitate discussions on any sort of issues that the council might deem important for the town of Speedway, and then also monitor all legislative issues that impact either positively or negatively the town of Speedway. And this company was kind of settled on after about 3 or 4 months of research, speaking to a few different companies just like this, and then ultimately settling on this, not only for their ability, their presentation, and their pricing, but also because they have good references from other municipalities that have engaged them in the past.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve this professional services agreement with Catalyst Public Affairs.
I second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the contract with Catalyst Public Affairs this evening. Any questions from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the contract with Catalyst Public Affairs signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Item 5 on our agenda is approval of claims and utility adjustments from our clerk treasurer. Jacob Blaisdell.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
evening.
President. The claims that have been presented to you for approval represent claims from October 24th through November 6th. I'd be happy to take any questions or would appreciate your approval.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the claims presented to us by Clerk Treasurer.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented this evening by clerk treasurer. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the claims as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Any utility adjustments this evening, Jacob?
There are a couple of utility adjustments, again representing adjustments from October 24th through November 6th, and would appreciate your approval on those as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the adjustments presented to us by Clerk Treasurer.
I'll second that.
Been a motion and a second to approve the utility adjustments as presented. Any questions from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, we'll then call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the utility adjustments as presented this evening signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Anything else, Jacob?
Just a couple items. The budget that was approved at the last meeting has been officially and formally submitted to the state for their review process. Don't anticipate any issues, but it is good to have that uploaded and done. And then we officially closed on the sewer bond refinancing that I mentioned at the last meeting. So those were priced and they've now formally and officially closed. So also good to have that one behind us. That's all I have.
Jacob, before you step away, I know this was mentioned at the last meeting, but I think it's important for the public to know how much in savings was that the bond that you,
Yeah.
this was your idea to go out and get a lower rate is basically what you did. Can you tell us how much that is going to save the town by doing that, please?
Yeah, it's going to save us over $1 million in interest cost over the next 13 years. As I think I mentioned, we didn't do anything weird with extending out the term or adding debt or anything like that, just a straight refinancing. It also allowed us, there were some debt service reserves on the old bonds. So we refinanced all of the sewer bonds that we had outstanding. And that released a little over $2.2 million that was sitting in the debt service reserve. So when we did the restructure, we were able to pull those funds out. And, we can use those funds to help improve our infrastructure in the sewer system there. And, I don't know if I can take credit for the idea. Rates happen to be low. We just, we're always watching that and looking for the opportunities and running the analysis and numbers. And we were fortunate to have it line up and able to save the town a lot of money. So it's a good
Jacob,
transaction for us.
We've refinanced other bonds in other departments, et cetera, in the past, and you keep looking at those. I know some of the newer bonds actually had clauses in it where we're not allowed to refinance, but you're on top of all those.
There have been some in the past, yeah, that I wasn't there for, but with some clauses that make it a little challenging to refinance those. And bonds in general, it's not quite like a mortgage where you can just kind of go to the bank and then refinance it. You have publicly issued securities, and so there's a process on calling those, and the timing has to be right. So, yeah, it's not quite just as simple as a mortgage refinancing. Right. Some of them we can't refinance, but where we can and when the timing makes sense, we certainly want to do that and be ready to strike on it.
Thanks for your efforts.
And the bills will be paid on that, correct?
The bills will be paid on that.
Making sure since I signed for it.
That's right. Yeah.
Coming after you.
Yeah.
Hey, my name's on those too. So
That's
yeah,
right. Very good point. But definitely, the hard work into that is greatly appreciated.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
Appreciate that. Yep.
Next is a report from our department supervisors. Begin with Economic Development Director, Tim Gropp. And Tim thought he was going to go last tonight. Good evening, Tim.
You just never know. You keep us on our toes out here.
I'm very trying.
Several updates for you this evening. Number one, the demolition of 1330 Main Street is scheduled to go on this Thursday. That is obviously pending any weather as well as final permitting that's needed, but I think everything's in line to get that taken care of. We actually had several inquiries, just so everybody knows, I don't know that we ever formally announced it, but Bell Racing helmets moved across the street. Their sign's not up yet on the Harding building, but they are over there. They're fine, and we're not going to knock it down with them inside. So, but we're excited to keep moving that project along. The fence is done at 10th and Poco officially. The no trespassing signs went up today. So as soon as they pull the temporary fencing, that project, after many years, has come to a conclusion from our end at least, and we'll make sure they get it cleaned up and maintain it moving forward. Founders Square, we're really close to the end of our portion of that project as far as the infrastructure. They are going to be repaving most of it though. We were not satisfied with the quality of the finished product, and so we've been working with the contractor Calumet, and they agreed that there were issues there, and so they're going to be out on site milling about 1.5 inches off tomorrow. There's also a water area that's holding water that shouldn't be, so we're working with the engineer and the contractor to figure out the best solution for that. From our perspective, we're paying for it to be done right. It needs to be done right. We shouldn't have a water issue at the end. So we're working through those final little issues, and we're excited to sign off and hand over everything to end users, which is also happening. We're currently, Indianapolis has provided us with plans for the first 3 tenants. So we're reviewing the Hampton Inn and Conference Center, the Crew Car Wash, and the grocer as we speak. So we're excited to get those moving through the process. And hopefully those 3 will be able to break ground sooner and later, and hopefully we'll have some additional announcements not too far into the future as well. As far as Town Hall, the interior is moving along well. They are working on the elevators currently. They're doing painting, tile work, and the carpet's sitting in what will be, I believe, Tim Ramian's office right now. So. That'll go down. The carpet in the baseboard will go down, but it's being delivered. So I feel pretty confident that everything in the interior is on schedule moving forward. Still have concerns about the exterior. I see brick is finally on site. They are working on some concrete work. It's gone a little bit slower than anticipated. There's still a lot to do on the exterior site work. There's most likely, just because we're running up to weather and closing of plants and whatnot, that we'll be able to open on schedule, but there will be some spring, they'll have to come back in the spring to finish up some work on the exterior. That shouldn't affect us being able to operate in there if we need be, but we haven't gotten to that point yet, but we're just starting to run out of time, so we'll see where we're at, and we'll give you a better update as to what we think that'll be to finish up this project. We're really excited. It's turning out really nice, and I think it's going to be a fantastic asset for the community. So, that's all I have. Any questions?
I have a question. High School Road, the lane that's closed southbound,
Yes.
any idea when that will be back open?
I believe, well, it'll be back open as soon as we can finish this paving one last time. So we thought we were done. Now they have to mill it out. They're doing a little strip in that lane in between El Rodeo's current entrance and the new entrance because it was worse than anticipated. So that should all get finished up this week. We're probably going to keep Founders Square Drive and the new 25th closed for the time being, kind of utilize it as construction entrance right now, but that shouldn't prevent us from being able to open that lane again. So long story short, hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Was there any warranty on the roads on the inside there? I mean, what's the standard warranty on?
Yeah, so interestingly, so how that'll work, because this is really a private contract, in our economic development agreement, we've agreed to take over the roads if they're built by NDOT standards. So that's one of the reasons we went out and walked them and said, look, to the developer. So the developer will have to sign off from the contractor, and the developer will come to us and say, we want to dedicate these roads to the town. We went out and looked at them and said, look, we would not accept these roads as is. So that's why we went back and said, no, we got to fix this now. When it's all done, they actually did utilize a heavier asphalt, which is nice, but they will be up to the NDOT standards of any road that we'd normally take over. And I'd asked Rob to clarify what exactly the warranty is, but I'm pretty sure that 1 year, I believe, is the answer, and I think
Okay,
I said that.
good. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Next is our police chief, Jim Campbell.
Good evening. I'd kind of like to begin my time with recognizing Allisons. I'm not going to talk about Allisons and what community partners they are and continue, but they made a donation to the police department that's going to enable us to buy some chairs and equipment for the new training room in our new facility, something we've never had. You know, it'd allow us to bring large groups of officers in if necessary for even a command center if we needed it. But you know, it was just a very kind gesture on their part, and we do appreciate it. I might mention that Melissa Sauer, obviously, everybody knows, but she's leaving Allison's in December, which will be a major loss to us. And I guess her mother still lives in Speedway, so she assures me she'll still come visit. The second one is, we're very fortunate. You know, we've hired 4 officers. 2 of them were lateral entries, 2 were not. Everybody has to be certified by Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. Thanks to Tim Horty, the director, he's going to allow us to put our 2 officers in this class, which started today, which will enable us to get those guys through, and, you know, very kind gesture on their part, very beneficial to us. And then the last one is, Gleaners on October 31st had one of their Feed the Hungry over at IMS. You know, and our reserve officers do so much, but they volunteered to provide the traffic and security for that event. So, you know, they continue to provide a valuable service to the town and department. And that's all positive, and I'm going to quit there.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief. Next is our fire chief, Bob Fishburne.
Well, I'll try to stay positive too. Good evening. I also want to thank Allison Transmission, who donated the same amount that the police received to us. And most of that doesn't happen without somebody like Jim said, Melissa, who is a very big advocate, number 1 of public safety and number 2 of Speedway. She's also put Jim and I in touch with all of the people who, you know, we will need to reach out to. And we've got a little parting gift for her that we're either going to try to get her to come here, or we're going to be a part of whatever that they do there. So I want to thank them for that donation. Also, I wanted to inform you and the citizens that the Indiana Office of Energy Development has granted a $37,650 grant to the fire department. I don't want to take all the credit. Chris and I worked on it. It was actually something that Captain Matthews had seen and passed off to us. And normally we would have to do a fairly good size match with that, but because of COVID and the way we were able to write the grant, we asked them to we only have to bring $3,000 to the table to get that. I even talked to Jacob, and he thought we could probably come up with that to gain the grant. The grant will actually be used as a part of our cancer initiative to put up airtight doors between the bay and the living quarters, replace some windows in the training room and seal that. Those of you that meet in there in the winter know it can be cold, and that heater runs and all of those things. So we didn't want to contribute too much money, but that was the building that qualified because we don't know how long we'll be there. But even if we're there for 2 or 3 more years, it's going to be very advantageous. The back door is also going to get a new energy-efficient door. The window off of the back, it's really going to be some good work. And we've already notified our contractor who had come in and helped give us the quote before we were able to submit the grant, a company out of Muncie that came highly recommended, Delaware Glass. It's a smaller, it's not a great big, company, but very, very reputable. So we're really excited about that. We've already done the W-9 forms and the direct deposit, and they sent us some signature documents today. I think he got the direct deposit information from you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're glad for that. It's kind of business as usual right now. And as I close, I want to take this time to not only thank my 3 veterans on my department, but thank all of the veterans that work for the town and that are watching in the audience for their service. This Wednesday's Veterans Day and won't have the opportunity. I know that a lot of gatherings that I'm used to going to or being a part of at a school or with my grandkids or something are all canceled, and our veterans, I think, look forward to being honored that way. So I just want to thank especially my 3 firefighters who have served, but everyone in the community. So with that, I'll just ask if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.
Chief. Next is our Parks and Recreations Director, Tammy Smith.
Good evening. Basically, what's going on in the parks right now is our basketball league. We finally got the last leg of it. The boys, 5th, 6th grade, starts their practicing this week, so we are full force in the basketball league. And the kids are doing great. I just think it's interesting with COVID going on. The kids seem like they are accommodating with the masks and stuff better than the adults, so they're doing wonderful. So kudos to the parents and those kids for making that transition easy. And then the other thing is this year's tribute trees have been ordered, and they are due to be delivered probably later this week, and we hope to get them in the ground next week. So I'll be emailing those people who ordered those to let them know. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, with our Public Works report, is our Street Commissioner, Rob Whitnight. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. We'll start off with water. They're currently on groundwater, will be until spring. And they've treated 14 million gallons so far last month. And they're doing their fall checklist on the surface plant while it's down. They're also doing hydrant flow tests in different areas throughout the town, checking on contractors working around the mains. And they had a water main break on Speedway Drive, which they repaired very quickly. The road plates are still on, but we'll be getting that taken care of soon. They also disconnected the main from the old PNC drive-through. So that's been taken care of. On to wastewater. Pretty much business as usual. October, we had 5.3 inches of rain. They reclaimed 110 million gallons of water. And there's a stormwater pledge. You can go to our website to adopt a drain for the fall with all the leaves falling. You can do that. It helps street department, helps everybody, basements, road flooding. And so you can go to our website and get that. And for the street department, we're doing the yard waste, street sweeping, mowing grass. The yard waste, we're going to be monitoring it. We may extend it if needed, but we'll know that by next council. That's all I have.
Rob, quick question on the news. They said that Marion County can put yard waste in plastic. That's not,
Not in Speedway.
okay. I just want to make sure.
Where we take our yard waste, we'll not accept it.
Okay.
Biodegradable paper bags or cans, please. That's all I have.
I know you and I spoke about the yard waste.
Yes.
I'm sure we're not going to have any snow, and I'm sure this warm weather is going to last for a while.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we know better than that.
Yeah, but that's something that we have discussed, and
Yes.
it kind of depends upon the weather on when that date will be announced, and maybe Kelly can push that out, and about, it normally stops the first week of December.
First full week of December. A lot of it depends on the weather. I mean, we got a big thunderstorm coming through in a couple of days. That's going to take care of a lot of it.
Yeah.
You have a lot of oak trees, they'll hold on. I got one at home that holds on until February. It doesn't drop a leaf until February. So a lot of it's that, and like I said, weather has the biggest impact on it.
Okay, great.
All righty?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is our Communications Director, Kelly Turner.
Good evening. First, I wanted to thank SCTV for helping with the fall theater production. With COVID, obviously they couldn't have big crowds, so they went out and helped do a live stream so that the group could sell tickets online, which was a new experience for them, so that their family could all see the production, and they were very happy with that. So thanks to Bill and Brian for stepping up and doing that. Next, I wanted to make sure everyone saw that there will be a neighborhood watch meeting. The topic will be how to protect yourself from fraud. It's going to be on December 16th, hosted by the Speedway Police Department and Speedway Community Policing. They're going to do it at the Speedway Public Library as of right now with masks and social distancing. Working with the cable crew to try to get that as a live streaming event or a recorded event as well. That'll be from 6 to 8 p.m. on December 16th. We are also accepting applications right now. You might have seen on our website or Facebook page for boards and commissions for the 2021 year. We'll be accepting those applications until November 22nd. We accept them year-round, but if you're wanting to get in as the beginning of January for 2021, try to get those in by November 22nd. If you have any questions, you can email me at kturner@speedwayin.gov. We have several openings, as well as people who are up for reappointment. So if your term is ending this year and you haven't already received an email from me or from Tim Gropp, please reach out or check your email and make sure that you've seen that from us. We do need to know if you're still interested in being reappointed if your term is ending. And so we are also in the final stages of tweaking our new branding that we've been wanting to bring to you for a few months now. It's going really well. I'm really excited about it, and I'm anticipating being able to present with Links Creative next council meeting, the first council meeting in December, with the new branding and what we've been working on. So I'm excited for the public to see that and to hear what everyone thinks. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Next is report from our town manager, Carlos.
Thank you, Council President. As you heard from most department heads, you got some specifics from each of their departments, so I'll take a little bit more high-level approach. We're really moving forward in Speedway right now. The next 2 to 3 months, we not just internally, but the community is really going to see those advancements. Town Hall getting built out and finished up. Assessments are ongoing at water and wastewater to help make sure we can get all the fixes necessary to help keep the cost to Speedway low, but yet provide excellent quality services they've been used to. Also, the approval tonight of the IT, that's going to be really helpful, especially getting it into the new building as we're moving along. So really, we're kind of at this precipice of all the changes that we've been working on for the past 6 months are going to finally come to fruition in the next 2 months. So I think it'll be exciting. Personally, I can't wait to see the new building and the new rebranding, but I'm sure that the community is going to be very excited to see once we get this all done. There's going to be a definite change of the look of the town once all this happens. And then on a more personal note, I'm sure most of the staff already are aware, but one of our employees, Tim R., his mother passed away unexpectedly recently. Tim is a Speedway resident as well. So for folks that are watching that maybe didn't know, I don't want to give out the last name just for privacy purposes, but if you are aware of who that is, our condolences, my condolences, and all the staff have privately said this to him, but publicly I'd like to say we're sorry for your loss. That's always a difficult thing, and we hope you get through it soon, and we can't wait to have you back on full cylinders. So unless you have any other questions, I will close with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Next is report from our council members. We begin with Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Yeah, I just want to, again, sort of bring up the boards and commissions, as Kelly had already talked. This is something that obviously is a lot of volunteer work, helps the counselors be able to do what we need to do here with your volunteer and in the different areas of the community. So it's really important. We can't do it without you. So if there's something there that you feel you might want to get involved with, please reach out to Kelly and put in an application. We'll be reviewing those and naming those individuals probably by the end of the year, or 1st of January. And then, again, just to thank all of our veterans, whether they're here in Speedway, family members. This coming Wednesday is Veterans Day, and it is a time to reflect and respect them as well. And thank you for everything they've served for us. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Gary Pettigo.
Thank you. Start off by saying ditto, echo Eileen's comments twofold. First, regarding boards and commissions, it's a great way to get your feet wet and learn about the town in which you live and be a participating member, have some say in what goes on in our town. Also to the veterans, Veterans Day on Wednesday. Probably my biggest regret in life is that I never went into the military. And I know there's other people that feel the same way. Beyond that, I want to put a shout out to the Speedway school system. There was a press release about a week ago or so regarding the number of COVID cases in our school system, limited to just 12. What an outstanding job. Superintendent Trebley and the entire staff and teaching community within our system. I can't just pat them on the back enough. And I think Tammy said it a little while ago, you know, the kids are better or seem to be better at it than adults. And I think that's proven itself out. Next, if we have a couple of minutes, I want to go back in time here about 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to call on Street Commissioner Wetnight here to come back to the podium, if you would, and explain something that I witnessed personally back on Thursday, October 15. I stopped by the street department to unload some yard waste, and I see Rob and some of his guys shoveling yard waste off of the shed floor back into the back of the truck. And so please tell the story.
Well, what happened was it was late afternoon the day before, and we always have a line at the yard waste truck. Gary's been in many of those through the years before he sat in that chair. That evening, we was getting ready to leave. There was a resident that lost his wedding ring in the back of the truck. He'd been married for 50 years, and he was pretty broke up about it. Another resident was there. We looked, and if you start digging through it, it's just going to keep going further down. So I said, we'll regroup in the morning. We'll empty the back out. We didn't cycle it, so that saved a day. So that next morning, we got it out on the floor, took all the larger brush, threw it back in. I was calling for a metal detector. I look over, it's sitting right on top. So we was able to call the resident. He got his ring back. Very, very happy man.
So all I can say is thank you, Rob. Thank you to your entire team. But I can expand that to the entire staff here in Speedway. I mean, what a great bunch of people that we have working for our town.
Great teams.
Just a perfect example. I was really touched.
Well, thank you. Like I said, we do all we can for anybody we can. It's our job here. So
thank you very much.
all right.
Beyond that, keep shopping in Speedway and spend your money in Speedway, right? So that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Next, Counselor Gary Rakes.
I won't belabor all of that, but those are pretty cool. That's a really cool story that we learned of a few weeks ago, so thanks for sharing that. We'll reiterate the importance of recognizing our veterans. our fire chief shared that a lot of the veteran programs are not happening this Wednesday as they normally do. So I would encourage everybody to think about their family, who in their family serve. Think about their neighbors or neighborhood, and just somebody you might work with, or someone that from your past that you worked with or you knew that served, and just reach out to them simply. It could be an email, it could be a phone call, it could be a text, or just whatever way you could just let them know they're appreciated and the fact that they laid their life on the line for all of us so we could have our freedoms. So I thank the other counselors and Chief Fishburne for bringing that up earlier this evening. And with that's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. Next is our Vice President of our council, Vince Noblet.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank the police force and the fire department. Last week they had a fatality that they handled on Crawfordsville Road, and I know those are tough to deal with, and it looked very unfortunate, and it bodes itself out that you guys have to deal with, the tough things in life, and just realizing how precious life is. The other thing I want to say is that everybody in Speedway has to work as a team in controlling crime and helping the police department out. So if you put 12,000 people out looking at what's going on around them, and if you see something, you have to say something. And it's your duty as a citizen, and don't rely on the police to get there. Make it happen, and it will change and continue to keep Speedway safe and sound in the future. That's all I have.
Great, and the final item is a report from myself. And since everyone covered everything I was going to say, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:38.